I'm vomiting from grief after reading hundreds of explicit texts between my late wife and her coworker, realizing that she was only hit by a drunk driver because she was on her way back after cheating on me. Posted by a deleted user in 2020. 2 months ago, my wife of 10 years, I'm 35, she was 34, tragically passed away in a car accident, hit by a drunk driver in broad daylight. I cried nonstop for 3 days. We were planning on having kids. I had started a good paying job a year earlier, and we had just purchased our first home 2 months before her death. I just couldn't, and still can't, believe she is really gone from my life. It feels like just yesterday everything was heading in the right direction and we were about to start a family. She seemed happy in our marriage and often said how proud she was of me. The following week after the accident, I received her phone, which was locked. After a week, I figured out how to unlock it using an obvious code I hadn't thought of earlier. I simply wanted it to keep photos in her memory, photos of us and so forth. But I saw some odd things in her photos, including pictures of her in someone else's house, a house I had never seen before, taking provocative images. I continued scrolling and saw the most heart-wrenching thing I've ever seen, her with another man. It wasn't anything sexual, but they were in a place that was clearly his, and just how close they were, I just knew it was an affair. The guy my wife had an affair with showed up at her funeral. I felt like I got stabbed in the gut when I realized I had seen him there. I began reading her texts and discovered that she was on her way back from his place. 3 hours before the accident, she texted him saying, "I'm on my way." I knew that meant he was the last person to see my wife. Not only that, but they had an intimate moment, and she would still be here right now if she hadn't been seeing him. I feel like I'm going through the death of a loved one and a breakup at the same time. She did this behind my back and will never know that I found out. In a way, I feel like she got to escape the heartbreak she caused me. Although I fully understand that death is much worse, and even knowing everything I know, I would never, ever wish this or any pain upon her. I found out more through her texts and Facebook messages. Something that absolutely enrages me is that she told her closest friend that this guy from work wanted to take her out to dinner, and her friend encouraged her to go. It enrages me because I knew her as well, and in person, she was always very nice. But my wife was asking her for confirmation. Had she said, "No, you are married, do not go out with him," I honestly feel like she wouldn't have done it. But her best friend was like, "Oh, is he hot? Oh, do it. Go have fun." It's just effing enraging. This happened 6 months ago when she asked her friend about it. A few days later, she told her friend about how, after dinner, she went to his place and had sex multiple times. When I read that, I honestly got physically sick. I started going through a breakdown, vomiting into the toilet, then crying on the bathroom floor. I just can't believe this actually happened, but it did. How could she do this? But as the days passed and the initial shock began to slow down, I started piecing things together. At the funeral, I noticed something a little unusual. Her best friend was talking to one of her coworkers. This was a friend from high school, and there was no reason she should have known any of her coworkers. But she was, in fact, talking to the coworker my wife had the affair with. Then she came and talked to me, gave me a hug. The guy my wife was having an affair with came and shook my hand. Something about that just makes me feel sick. Like I was being humiliated in a moment of grief. There was him, and her best friend, who knew about the affair. I couldn't help but wonder, did her coworkers also know? It's been a month, and I feel no closer to breaking away from the heartbreak. I miss her. I want her to be alive. If she were, I'd probably even want to fix our marriage. But she's not here anymore. I still can't bring myself to read all of her text messages with him. There are hundreds, and some are sexually explicit. My blood boils and my heart aches when I open their texts. I get hit with anxiety and an adrenaline rush, palms get sweaty, and my hands shake. But I feel it's important to know everything. It just breaks my heart that this guy did things with my wife she wouldn't do for me. The thing that blows my mind the most is that there were no warning signs at all, not a single one. Our marriage was good. She never did anything suspicious. Our sex life continued as normal. Just zero warning signs, other than the fact she started wearing a little more makeup than usual. Then I blame myself for not catching on. Maybe this all could have been prevented. Maybe I should have done this or that. I am broken and don't see myself ever being happy again. /relevant comments. Commenter. My God, I'm so incredibly sorry for you that I have no words. I can't even begin to imagine what you're going through. That's a lot of conflicting emotion. I know this is the standard Reddit response, but I very highly recommend seeking out therapy. You need support in this. I'm so sorry for your loss. Ops response. Thanks, I have already done so, and I'm going to be speaking with a psychologist. Commenter 2. Is her affair partner married? When are you going to tell the friend that you found out and that you know she encouraged her to do it? Ops response. No, he isn't married. It appears that he was, but he is still single. I already told her. She first told me she was very sorry to hear that she did that, but that I shouldn't tarnish her reputation by telling people. I said I am only telling you because I know you encouraged her, and she hasn't replied. But it's only been a day. I'm not sure anyone would know how to respond. Edit. Thanks, everyone, for all the support. I honestly didn't expect so many responses. Everyone who wished me well, thank you. Your kind words give me strength. I received a response from her friend, stating that she is deeply sorry for encouraging the behavior and not taking my feelings into account. She never wanted me to be hurt, and a bunch of other BS. Honestly, I don't feel any relief from her apologies. About the phone, I cannot bring myself to destroy all the truth. I feel like I must read through the entirety of my wife's texts with this man, or I will forever go crazy wondering what did and didn't occur, how often, and maybe get some answers on whether they were lovers, whether it was just lust/sex, or what she planned on doing. Obviously, in this state of trauma, I can't emotionally handle reading their conversations. But I've decided to keep the phone, read it all, and then toss it and move on. Also, for people telling me to piss on her grave or saying this is karma, please drop it and don't comment. I loved her for over a decade, and that's not going away like that. I still love this woman, even with the disgusting things she did. She was still my wife, a daughter, and an aunt. She didn't deserve to get hit by some drunk driver and suffer with bleeding in her brain that ultimately caused her death. Please go away, I do not need this, and I am not a sick-minded enough man to have those thoughts. For everyone else, thank you so much. Update 4 days later. Hello all, I love everyone in this sub, you guys have shown me so much support regarding what I've been dealing with. I can't say anything has gotten better, especially during this epidemic where I'm stuck not working. Just too much time. Anyway, people mentioned getting in touch with my wife's company's HR about her coworker, whom she was having an affair with. He is single. I have done this and asked about it, and they said there was no policy against coworkers getting romantically involved as long as it's off work. I kind of figured this was the case. As much as I want to get him fired and ruin his life, it was in fact consensual and their affair was off the clock, so I understand that there is nothing they can do. I didn't think there was. I sent a screenshot of the message of her friend encouraging her to her boyfriend on Facebook. He replied that he is sorry for what happened to me, but that she didn't think she would actually do it, that I shouldn't blame his girlfriend for my wife's affair or death. So I guess it's a dead end there, as I am talking to a doorknob who believes whatever his girlfriend says. I got a ton of suggestions about posting her texts and messages to publicize what she did. I am not going to do this, and I really don't understand the point of doing it. She is gone and has no consequences left to suffer, no justice will be served. She is gone. I would only be making this more difficult for her family. Besides, it's not really anyone else's business, even if she were alive. So I decided to go through all her texts with him and her other friends. I was going to wait longer before looking, but I just couldn't sleep. I couldn't seem to move on from wondering how, where, why, and not having any answers. Her entire conversation with him was still there from their first to their last texts. A little bit of good news is she expressed guilt, although not right away, about the affair, and after meeting him the second time for sex, she expressed guilt and told him that she couldn't continue seeing him. But of course, it would continue. Their conversations ranged from her being very close to him, sending heartfelt messages, to totally ignoring him. But she would sometimes apologize for ignoring him, which obviously angered me. The bad news is she appears to have been much more sexually exploratory with him. She also smoked weed with him, which I had never seen her do. I found that he had rear segs with her more than once, yet it's something she never let me do. She also had him sleep in our bed on the night I went to visit my brother. Also, she gave him head while he drove to get lunch on their lunch break. She talked about it like it was funny. This wasn't something I was ready for. I began shaking and puking, it gave me a severe anxiety attack, and I resorted to drinking last night because it was just too much. I feel like he took her from me, like he killed her, because she would be alive if she hadn't gone to his place. I've been obsessed with the dates on their messages, with when they would meet. I go back to my social media and camera album to see what day that was. I was heartbroken when I saw they met on our anniversary, when I took her to dinner at the first place we went on a date. I remembered that day as a very good night with her, very romantic, and we were both so happy and close. I felt like I got hit in the gut knowing she had sex with another man just hours before our date. Makes me sick, and I don't see how I can get over this. My mind is still numb after what I read last night. I just can't believe that crap actually happened. I honestly wish I never discovered this. I'd much rather have left her phone alone. I'd rather have remembered something I never knew, a lie, compared to how I feel now. But now that I know, I need to let go of all the love I have for her. I'm mourning her death and I miss her so much, but it's time I realize she isn't who I thought she was. I've read everything there is to know, and at least I don't think I can hurt any more than I'm hurting now. Here's to hopefully healing. I have a talk with a psychologist in about a month, but if I feel any worse, I will go to the hospital because I am close to feeling suicidal. But I know it's an illogical feeling. I must go on.